Shalom. This is Deacon DeForest Smith with the King James Bible University and the new Transitional House of Jehovah. And today's lesson is going to be titled Separation and Discernment. And we must understand that we must separate from darkness and come into the light, the knowledge, and the understanding of the Spirit, and have the discernment, the gift of discernment, to refine that and understand the difference between the good and the evil, the difference between traditions of man and the heritage of Jehovah, the difference between carnality and spirituality. And let's go to First John chapter 4, verse 1. And it says, Beloved, chosen ones, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of Jehovah, or that word of righteousness, because many false prophets are going out into the world. And these are the mouthpieces of deceit, the workers of iniquity, the tail to the ancient and honorable. John chapter 1, verse 1, 4 through 5. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Verse 4, in him was life, that Word, Jehovah, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness. Verse 5, and the darkness comprehended it not. So we must have that discernment to understand that light shineth before us all the day long. And it's up to us to separate from that darkness and understand, get the understanding of that light. What is it here for? What is here to accomplish in us, and how we need that light to maneuver in this world of darkness, because without it we are lost, and we're not separated from anything that is contrary from the words of truth. We'll be right in the midst of darkness, in those lies, in those hellholes, comprehending it not, that we should have an escape, because we are able to see that light to escape the darkness. But if we are stuck in that darkness, we won't comprehend that light, and we won't have any opportunity to escape. Acts 17, verse 24 through 25. God, Jehovah, that made the world and all things therein by that word, seeing that he is the creator of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands, in that darkness, in those hellholes, in those places where they don't speak of truth. They don't speak of that light, because the darkness comprehended it not. And it's nothing but darkness in those dwelling places made with hands. Verse 25, neither is worship with men's hands, as though he needed anything, seeing he giveth to all life and breath and all things. So this is what we must separate from and discern who will you serve. Will you get that life and breath in all things from Jehovah, the word of truth? Or will you lean to your own understanding and stay in these buildings made with hands where the darkness comprehended it not? Because Jehovah is not in those buildings. So it's no comprehension. The word of wisdom is not giving you any um edification in those buildings. Wisdom did not dwell in those buildings. Acts chapter 7, verse 48, 50 through 54. Verse 48. Howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, as said the prophet. Have not my hand made all these things? My power, the power of Jehovah, the Creator. Ye stiff necked and uncircumcised in heart and ears, ye do always resist the Holy Ghost, the separated body, as your fathers did, so do ye, because the darkness comprehended it not. Verse 52. Which of the prophets, the mouthpieces of Jehovah, have not your fathers persecuted? So these prophets are speaking that word which gives us life. And these prophets are the light of men because they have submitted themselves and separated themselves from the darkness to give light unto the world. Um, let's go back to 52. Which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted? And they have slain them which showed before of the coming of the just one, of that light, of whom ye have been now the betrayers and murderers, who have received the law by disposition of messengers and have not kept it. Verse 54. When they heard these things, they were cut to the heart, and they gnashed on him with their teeth. Let me see if I can find this verse. Let's go to Matthew chapter 10, verse 34. And it states, think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. That's separation. So they were cut to the heart, because he came not to send peace, but a sword, to separate the darkness from those that are in the light. And those that are in darkness, they're gonna gnash on you with their teeth. They're gonna hate you for it, for the spirit that's within you. They're gonna be grievous with you. Ecclesiasticus or Sirach chapter 13, verse 4 through 8, 11, 13 through 14, and 17 through 18. And this is what they do in those hellholes, in those buildings made with hands. If thou be for his profit, he will use thee. But if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee. If thou have anything, he will live with thee. Yea, he will make thee bear, and will not be sorry for it. If he have need of thee, he will deceive thee, and smile upon thee, and put thee in hope. He will speak thee fair, and say, what wantest thou? And he will shame thee by his meats, his doctrines, his knowledge, until he have drawn thee dry twice or thrice. And at the last he will laugh thee to scorn afterward. When he seeth thee, he will forsake thee, and shake his head at thee. Beware that thou be not deceived and brought down in thy jollity. Verse 11. Affect not to be made equal unto him in talk. These great artificers and orators that are in these buildings, these false prophets, and believe not his many words, for with much communication will he tempt thee, and smiling upon thee will get out thy secrets. Verse 13, observe and take good heed, that discernment, for thou walkest in peril of thy overthrowing. All we got to stay on this narrow path. And you know, on the right side and to the left is danger. Fire on one side and deep water on the other. So, for thou walkest in peril of thy overthrowing. When thou hearest these things, awake in thy sleep. Love promised the Creator all thy life. So render that life to him so that he could be your guide and you won't be guiding yourself through um these perils that are trying to overthrow thee. And call upon him for thy salvation, not a man, but the spirit of Jehovah, because he is our salvation, not Jesus. Verse 17, what fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb? So you see there, if he was the lamb, then he was the servant. And you know the wolf is those that's trying to swallow the lamb, those that are of deceit and of evil intent, that try to devour you and your soul and your spirit. So the sinner with the godly. Verse 18, what agreement is there between the hyena and the dog? We must separate. And what peace between the rich and the poor? We know the rich always separate from the poor. Rich don't want to be by the poor, but the poor want to be rich. So when you have that discernment of being able to understand that you are rich in spirit and the flesh is poor, or will you just have the carnal eyes to think that riches are accumulative things of this world? And if you don't have those things, then you're not blessed and you're poor, which is the opposite, a lie. It's a carnal thing that doesn't profit you anything. These things of this world, but the knowledge of the separated the heaven is what we need to build us up, to give us discernment, to give us those gifts, to be refined within us, so that we can make it into the kingdom and won't be empty. Ecclesiasticus or Sirach chapter 2, verse 1 through 3, 5 through 7, 12, and 15 through 18. My son, if thou come to serve the Creator, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. But we can only do this through the words of wisdom and being diligent in our studies so that we can strengthen ourselves in that word of separation. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Verse 5. For gold is tried in the fire, an acceptable man in the furnace of adversity. Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him. Ye that fear, that desire the Creator, wait for his mercy, and go not aside, lest ye fall. Verse 12. Woe be to the fearful under the fearful hearts, and faint hands, and the sinner that goeth two ways. And let's stop right here and go to Luke 16, verse 13. Because the sinner goeth two ways. They think they can serve two masters, but they only fooling themselves. No servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve Jehovah and flesh, because Jehovah is contrary to flesh, and the flesh won't let you do the things of righteousness. So you're gonna be in the midst of confusion, which is sin. And the sinner that goeth two ways. Verse 15 of Ecclesiastes or Sirach chapter 2. They that fear the Creator will not disobey his word, will not disobey his spirit, will not disobey his son, his servant. And they that promise him will keep his ways. They that desire the Creator will seek that which is well, pleasing unto him. Just like a wife seeks to please their husbands, and husbands seek to please the wife. It's a bond, a covenant, a promise that we must keep. And they that love, that promise him, shall be filled with the law, with the spirit of discernment, the spirit of instruction. Verse 17, they that desire the Creator will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sight. Verse 18, saying, we will fall into the powers of the Creator and not into the powers of men. For as his majesty is, so is his mercy. First John chapter 4, verse 4 through 5 and 7 through 8. Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them. And how do we overcome them? By that discernment of spirit and flesh, because we must separate from the flesh and overcome those that's in the world that are fleshly and carnal minded, that try to deceive you to come onto that side of the plumb line. Because greater is he that is in you, that spirit that is guiding you, that is going to be a light to men, than he that is in the world, that darkness, that comprehended it not. Verse 5, they are of the world, those with no comprehension of the spirit and and the Godhead, therefore speak of they of the world. They think the Godhead is Jesus. They speak of the world, the things of this world, confusion, and the world heareth them. That's why you got so many people on Sundays running into these buildings instead of reading a book where it shows you not to go to those buildings because the word doesn't dwell in those buildings. The word is God, and God don't dwell in the building, so they're not speaking the word. Verse 7, beloved, let us love one another, and let us promise one another, for promise is of God, keeping truth, keeping that promise. Jehovah doesn't change, so our promises shouldn't change. The things that we say should be true, and the things that we say should be accomplished, just like His word doesn't come back void. We shouldn't be speaking void things, vain and void things. And everyone that loveth, that promiseth, is born, is brought forth of Jehovah, and knoweth Jehovah. They comprehend the light. They comprehend that light. They understand that we must separate and have that discernment while in this life, this journey in this world of darkness. He loveth, he promiseth not, knoweth. He that promiseth not, knoweth not Jehovah. For Jehovah is promised, because he promised he will not change. Malachi 3, 6 and 7. For as his majesty is, so is his mercy. For I am the Spirit of God, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. He given us a chance to get this discernment and separate. Even from the days of your fathers, ye are gone away from mine ordinances. This is knowledge. So what will you do with it? Will you keep in the ways of the fathers, or will you separate like Abram did and come out of her and into the marvelous light, that land that was given, full of milk and honey, that pure knowledge, and have not kept them? Return unto me, and I will return unto you, saith the Spirit of God of hosts. But ye said, wherein shall we return? Hmm. That's the $1 million question, huh? Because you have no discernment. You have no understanding. The light is not in you if you ask in that question, wherein shall we return? Seek out the matter. Look inside this book. It is written for us to get knowledge from and understand our faults towards the Most High. And then you shall understand, have the discernment on how to return by separating yourselves from wickedness and evil and of this world. things of this world. That's how we return. We return with our hearts, mind, soul, and strength, and render it unto Him, and leave everything else behind. Don't look back. Keep pushing towards the mark. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 11 through 12. Understand your faults. Ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another. And ye shall not swear by my ways falsely. So we can't live a false life saying that we love God, but we saying Jesus is God. That's contrary. That's confusion. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a false deal. And you stealing the glory from Jehovah and putting it on a man. Neither shalt thou profane the way of thy guide, that word. I am the Spirit of God. Deuteronomy 6, verse 4 through 8. Wherein shall we return? Hear, O Israel, the Spirit of God our guide is one Spirit, and thou shalt love the Spirit, promise the Spirit of God thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul and with all thy might, with all thy might. Render those things, promise to give it to him and not get it back, to for us to lean upon our own hearts, our own souls. We must receive those gifts. Give up your life to get the gifts and find those gifts of Jehovah, because they will benefit you. They will profit you more than your own thoughts and your own imaginations. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, which we don't. We give them a tablet, we give them TikTok, we give them YouTube, we give them Coco Melon, we give them all these cartoons and things of the world that change their mental and conform them to the world and not conforming to the words of righteousness. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine power, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes. That discernment. And this is how we must return, by teaching and exhorting those that are lost, and also cleaning our own house. First, we must do that, and then we can go out and reach others. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 through 7. I mean 5 and 7. Trust in the Spirit of God with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. So we must have those instructions of Deuteronomy 6, 4 through 8, and trust in that, and not lean unto our own desires, our own understanding of what we think is saying, our own interpretations. Be verse 7, be not wise in thine own understanding. Eyes, desire the Spirit of God and depart, separate from evil. Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 1 and 10 through 12. Therefore, for that reason, thou shalt promise the Spirit of God thy guide and keep his charge and his statutes and his judgments and his commandments always. For the land, verse 10, I'm sorry, for the land whither thou goest in to possess it is not as the land of Egypt of confusion, from whence ye came out, where thou sowest thy seed and waters it with thy desire, as a garden of herbs. But the land whither ye go to possess it is a land of hills and valleys, and drinketh water of the rain of heaven. So when we was in Egypt in that confusion, we did things according to our own understanding and our own knowledge. We waters it with our desires. So it ain't nothing but spittle as a garden of herbs. But the land whither you go to possess it is a land of hills and valleys, and drink of water of the rain of separation, that knowledge that reigns, that manna, that good that good doctrine that's good for edification and not confusion. Verse 12, a land which the Spirit of God thy guide careth for, the understanding of the Spirit of God thy guide are always upon it, from the beginning of the year even unto the end of the year. And that's a beautiful thing. This is what we try to we accomplish here at King James Bible University. Year in, year out, we are speaking the words of truth, which the understanding of Jehovah gave us to give that knowledge, not our own, which we did in Egypt, in those buildings made with hands, houses of confusion. Psalms chapter 2, verse 2 through 5. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Spirit of God and against his anointing, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Creator shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. So we must separate from that because it's nothing going to be nothing good. It's going to be all trouble once that power comes and he takes his vengeance against those that are in the darkness. 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 19 through 21. For it is um, for it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, and I will bring to nothing the understanding of the prudent. Where is the wise? Where is the scribe? Where is the disputer of this world? Have not Jehovah made foolish the wisdom of this world? For after that, in the wisdom of Jehovah, the world by wisdom knew not Jehovah, knew not thy guide. It pleased thy guide by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe. Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1 through 2. So you're going to be destroyed with your own vain opinions and imaginations. because you have no discernment on how to depart from those workers of iniquity, those men that think they're wise in this world. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Creator, salvation, the Anointed One, and by our gathering together unto Him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that day of the anointed way is at hand, is at power. Numbers chapter 14, verse 17 through 19 and 22 through 23. And now I beseech thee, let the power of my Creator be great, according as thou hast spoken, saying, the Spirit of God is long suffering and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, and by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity, the acts of sin of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. Pardon, I beseech thee, the iniquity, the acts of sin of this people, according unto the greatness of thy mercy, and as thou hast forgiven this people from Egypt even unto now. Verse 22 through 23. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in confusion and in the wilderness, have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice. Surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoke me see it. So are you part of that group, those that are on the opposite side of the plumb line, that have not hearkened to the voice and have tempted him 10 times? We must get in this book and get this understanding and this discernment before we ruin our own selves. For our end comes quicker than we think, and we run out of time to separate from the workers of iniquity in the world of darkness. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 7 through 8. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. For to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit. Uh, Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 15, verse 7 through 8. So we talking about the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. But foolish men shall not attain unto her, and sinners shall not see her. For she is far from pride, and men that are liars cannot remember her. So men that are liars cannot repent, cannot remember her, cannot repent. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 10 through 11. To another, the working of miracles, to another, prophecy, to another, discerning of spirits, to another, diverse kinds of tongues, to another, the interpretation of tongues. But all these work of that one and the self same Spirit, dividing to every man severely as he will. So this is speaking of the Father giving out um wisdom, which is the spirit of understanding and that light, that light unto men. Second Thessalonians chapter 3. Oh, wait. Second, hold on. Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3 through 14. Let no man deceive you by any means, which we saw in Sirach chapter 15, verse 7 through 8, that the foolish man shall not attain unto her, and sinners shall not see her. So we shall not let no man deceive us that our sinners are foolish, because they have not the word of wisdom. For that day shall not come, except there coming a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So if you do be deceived, you're going to fall away unto the traps and the lies and the deceit of men, the traditions of men, doctrines of devils. Verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God. That is that pride. She is far from pride. That wisdom shall not rest in a prideful man, or that is worship, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. So men that are liars cannot remember that. So they're going to be deceived by these vain imaginations of men. And now ye know that what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity, the acts of sin doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Creator shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the promise of the truth of that way of life, of righteousness through wisdom, that they might be saved. And for this cause, Jehovah shall send them strong delusions, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness. But we are bound to give thanks always to Jehovah for you, brethren, beloved of the Creator, because Jehovah have from the beginning chosen you to salvation through sanctification of the Spirit and belief of the truth. Verse 14, whereunto he called you by our message to the obtaining of the glory of our Creator, salvation, the anointed way. Psalms 89, verse 1 through 2 and 6 through 8. I will sing of the mercies of the Spirit of God forever. With my mouth will I make known thy faithfulness to all generations. For I have said, mercy shall be built up forever. Thy faithfulness shall thou establish in the very heavens. Verse 6. For who in the heaven in the separation can be compared unto the Spirit of God? Who among the sons of the mighty can be likened unto the separation unto glory? Jehovah is greatly to be desired in the assembly of the saints, and to be had in reverence of all them that are about him. O Spirit of God, thy guide of hosts, who is a strong shepherd of Israel, who is a strong shepherd of Israel like unto thee, or to thy faithfulness around about thee. First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 8 through 11. Then said Judas to the men that were with him, fear, desire ye not their multitude, neither be ye afraid of their assault. Remember how our fathers were delivered in the Red Sea, when Pharaoh, the king of sin, pursued them with an army. Now therefore let us cry unto the separation, if peradventure the Creator will have mercy upon us and remember the covenant, the promise of our fathers, the marriage of our fathers, and destroy this host in the presence of our face this day, of our understanding this day, that so all the heathen may know that there is one who delivereth and saveth Israel, his faithful servants, his beloved. Psalms 89, verse 21 through 24, and 26, and 34 through 35. With whom my power shall be established. Mine strength also shall strengthen him. The enemy shall not exact upon him, nor the servant of wickedness afflict him. And I will beat down his foes in the presence of his face, and plague them that hate him. But my faithfulness and my mercy shall be with him, and in my way shall his horn be exalted. 26. He shall cry unto me, thou perfection and beauty, my Father, my Creator, my guide, and the rock of my salvation. 34 through 35. My covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing that is gone out of my lips. Once have I sworn by my holiness that I will not lie unto David, unto his beloved. Isaiah chapter 26, verse 3 through 5 and 10 through 14. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusted in thee. Trust ye in the Spirit of God forever. For in the Spirit of God Jehovah is everlasting strength. For he bringeth down them that dwell on high, the lofty city, he layeth it low, even to the ground bringeth it even to the dust. Verse 10 through 14. Let favor be showed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold. Remember the majesty of the Spirit of God. The Spirit of God. When thine power is lifted up, they will not see, but they shall see and be ashamed, for they envy at the people. Yea, the fire, the desire of thine enemies shall devour them. Spirit of God, thou wilt ordain peace for us, for thou hast wrought, for thou also hast wrought all our works in us. O Spirit of God, our guide, other lords, other masters besides thee have had dominion over us, but by thee only will we make mention of thy way. They are dead, they shall not live, they are deceased, they shall not rise. Therefore, for this reason hast thou visited and destroyed them, and made all their memory to perish. Numbers chapter 14, verse 27 through 32, and 35 through 37. How long shall I bear with this evil congregation, which murmur against me? I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel, which they murmur against me. Say unto them, as truly as I live, says the Spirit of God, as ye have spoken in mine ears, so will I do to you. Your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you, according to your whole number, from 20 years old up and upward, which have murmured against me. So we must pick up this discernment, this understanding from the book of remembrance, and separate from this evil congregation, because it's a mixed multitude, and you don't want to get caught up in his wrath. You want to be found in on the opposite side of the plumb line, where mercy is mercy and grace is given. We can't get caught up in the world and the things of the world, the things of our eyes that we see, and complain that we don't have those things. But we must refine and be tried in the fire in these desires, so that we could turn from our wicked ways and turn to his ways, and understand that our ways will not profit us, but it will get us in trouble with our creator, and his wrath and recompense will fall against us. Verse 30. Doubtless you shall not come into the land concerning which I swear to make you dwell therein, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. But your little ones which ye said should be a prey, them will I bring in, and they shall know the land which ye have despised. But as for you, your carcasses, they shall fall in this wilderness. So will we be those that despise his word and fall in this wilderness? Verse 35. I, the Spirit of God, have said, I will surely do it unto all this evil congregation that are gathered together against me. All those that go to church on Sundays, all those that do these holidays, Easter that is coming up, they gather together against him. In this wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die. And the men which Moses sent to search the land, who returned and made all the congregation to murmur against him by bringing up a slander upon the land, saying, This word is done away with. They can change it whenever they want to. You can come as you are and God will accept you. All you got to do is believe on a man that has nothing to do with biblical law and doctrine. That's a false prophet, a false image. And all these evil congregations have despised his word and came up with their own evil inventions, their evil imaginations, vain imaginations of their wicked hearts, have created their own traditions, their own heritage, their own tongues, tongues of Babel. And that's what murmured against him in this wilderness. Even those men that did bring up the evil report upon the land died by the plague before the Spirit of God. So Exodus chapter 23, verse 1 through 2. Thou shalt not raise a false report, put not thine power with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment, teachings, and doctrines. Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 20 through 22. These are the warnings of instructions that is given to us. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my way, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the way of other gods, these gods of the land, these idols, even that prophet shall die. And if thou say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which the Spirit of God hath not spoken? When a prophet speaketh in the way of the Spirit of God, if the thing follow not, if you can't see it in this book, you can't see it precept upon precept, if it's not spiritual, used by wisdom, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Spirit of God hath not spoken. But the prophet hath spoken it presumptuously out of his own vain heart of imagination and deceit. Thou shalt not be afraid of him. Malachi 3, 5 through 6. And I will come near to you to teachings and doctrines, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, and against the adulterers, and against false swearers, and against those that oppress the hirelings and his wages, the widow and the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from his right and desire not me, says the Spirit of God of hosts. Verse 6, for I am the Spirit of God, I change not, therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. So we must get this understanding and get this message before it's too late, and turn from our ways and understand, have that discernment to stay away from evil, because it will be our demise to our souls. We must separate and get the understanding, the doctrine that we should feed on from the heavens and not from the earth, from below. Because everything from below the earth is cursed. So that wisdom from below, from the earth, is not godly, but it's devilish. So we hope you got some understanding on this teaching. And I'm gonna maybe make a part two on this one because it's a lot more that we should be understanding on being separated and having the discernment to separate from those that are in darkness and being that light to those that want to come out of darkness into the light of understanding and wisdom. And this is straight out of Compton, King James Bible University, Deacon Smith, and I'll say shalom.